Hi again everyone. More on logs. What happens when there's a fraction inside of a log? Well, it depends what the fractions are, but in this case, let's have a look at it. Shortcut way of thinking is 2 to the y is a half, and a lot of people struggle with that. So let's try to make it obvious. I want a number for there. I can go from log form to index form by pushing the 2 out over to here, and the x goes on the top. So I end up with a half. There's your log form, there's your index form. I talk about squishing, squish the 2 out and the x goes on top. Let's check we're correct. The only definition of logs is the log of a half is that index using a base of 2. So the log of a half is that index using a base of 2. And a lot of people don't understand what to do with this half. So let's come back to normal numbers. 4 divided by 8 obviously is a half. If I write that using index laws, 4 is 2 squared, 8 is 2 cubed. What happens with the powers, the index, or Americans refer to as the exponent? What happens to the exponent when we're dividing? We subtract them. So I've got 2 to the minus 1. 2 take 3 is minus 1. So we can now write, instead of a half, we can write 2 to the minus 1. So I come back to here. This is 2 to the minus 1 equals 2 to the x. Once I've got powers of 2 here, I can equate their components. I can make an equation out of the indices. So I can just write minus 1 equals x. In other words, the answer is x equals minus 1. So back to the original question, 2 to the what is a half. If you're comfortable with writing these with negative powers, 2 to the minus 1 will give you the half. Once you're in the process, you can now do the same thing. 5 to the what is 1/5. So 5 to the what would be minus 1. Again, if you weren't sure, you can go x. Then we can go that 1/5 equals 5 to the x, so we squish out the 5, go up from log form to index form. Now I can write that as 5 to the minus 1. And then my equation from the top, as long as the bases are the same on the bottom, is x equals minus 1. Let's go a step further. Because we've got to equal something. Let's do it the long way. I can squish the 3 out and I've got 1/9 equals 3 to the x. So the x goes up on top, go up from log form to index form. Now I can write this as 1 on 3 squared. And what can I do with the 3 squared? When I move from the denominator to the numerator, if you look back here, I've gone from the denominator to the numerator. The power of 1 here becomes a minus 1. Same here, when I go from the numerator to the denominator to the numerator, what I've done is the power here has become a minus 1. So when I go from the denominator to the numerator, this becomes 3 to the minus 2. So this is really back to index laws, which I could do in a completely different video. So that would be x equals minus 2. Next I have to look at what happens if we have square roots.